So I want to introduce you to someone. I'm not sorry. Edit. Is she in the room? No. I'm so proud of the story you're about to hear because I've watched her come from a long way to get to where she is. So please welcome Corina Sell.
Don't stop, make it pop, DJ blow my speakers up tonight. I'ma fight till we see the sunlight. Tick tock on the clock, but the party don't stop now.
Hi!
Don't you send me off?
So Corina and I and Christine worked together last year as well, and you know that whole ability to see people grow in front of you. Just, this is going to be shocking. It's really quite amazing to see people evolve, and when the thing clicks, you know, for some people it just takes so long, and you feel like this is just so hard, and that nothing's working in your favour, and all of a sudden, in the space of 1 week, a month, 2 months, it just clicks and goes. And it's these things of working time, you know, you're working on deals for 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, and all of a sudden they just come together all in one hit. So how'd you meet Dimpner?
Oh, wow. I met Dimpner, it would be almost 6 years ago now. I had a friend say to me, you keep talking about this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You say you can't do it in Australia, there's someone you need to meet. She couldn't make the event, and she gave me her free tickets, and I came along and saw Dimpner Bohold.
And what were you thinking at the time?
I was in a position where I knew there had to be something more to life than working 9 to 5. I'd grown up pretty broke. My mum was a sole parent pensioner. My dad really wasn't in the picture too much, and I was looking at what was left on my credit card. I already had quite a debt, and I've gone, could maybe make the part payment work, and I'm just going to have to keep fighting for that money. I actually came and I spoke to Dimpner and I said, I love the idea of this project, I love the concept of how this works, but could it work for someone like me who will have zero free cash flow left over at the end?
And you had a light bulb moment around rules.
Around the rules, yeah. So through my journey with Dimpner, I had this moment where I realised that there are no rules. There's so many strategies to follow. You can look at everything, you can see what other success stories have done, you can look at these formulas, but at the end of the day, you can actually create anything that you want to create. There is no secret formula, it's just taking action and finding what works.
Now for you, life wasn't that easy. You did mention that your mother was a single parent and you did lose your mother at the age of 15.
Yeah, when I was 15, my mum passed away. We'd grown up broke, and when I say broke, I remember going down and waiting outside the charity to pick our 10 items of food that you're actually allowed to go out and pick. We didn't feel broke when my mum was around, like there was a lot of love, but we were broke compared to the other kids at school.
So you lost your mother and you moved in with your father.
We weren't close. My stepmom, definitely not close. So I lived there for a year and I moved out of home. I just turned 17 when I was officially living on my own. So
there's a couple times there where you didn't have much money.
Yeah. I remember I didn't like people to know that I had no money. That was a big deal to me. So there was one time where my bank account was in the negative. I had no cash and I realised that I couldn't catch the bus to school. So I took 3 days off.
It's not great, is it? And yet, to see where you are now. Okay. You wanted to do something with your life. You wanted to move on and stop being fearful of what had to happen.
Yeah.
And what did you say to yourself? What am I going to have to do?
I just went, if I don't change what I'm doing now, nothing's going to change. Come the time that I saw Dimpner, I was in a job. I wasn't struggling at that moment in time, but I certainly had the broke mindset. I was terrified.
When you joined, it's not as if you could afford to join.
No. It was no savings, credit card. I did actually have to talk with the guys at Knowledge Source at a point along the way when I couldn't make one of the payments work. Like, it was the last of my dollars.
So you went to Millionaire Within. And you realised at that point in time you had $13,000, and what did you realise?
That event changed my life. It was Dimpner's first Millionaire Within that she ran. Came along and sat that, and I realised that I'd been making excuses. So when my mum passed away, I had will money that had been left to me. And so during the various events, I'd gone out, I'd researched, and I'd gone to buy a property, and I'd gone to my dad, oh, I'm ready for that will money now. And he goes, oh, you can't just grab it now, you have to give a bit of notice. Okay, and I'd ask another question, and after a year, it came out that he'd invested it into his business and it was gone.
So he'd taken money from your mother's inheritance, had used it, and he didn't mean to lose it, it's just that it went into a business, and when you needed it to get into the property, because you'd had 2-year settlement on this one.
No, I didn't have the property yet.
Oh, you didn't have it yet?
Did not have the
Right.
property yet. So basically, in Millionaire Within, I realised that I'd actually seen the strategies that were no money down. I'd actually learned what you could do, and I've gone, well, why am I waiting for this fictional money that's around the corner at some point when, look, we've seen people do it with no money down. Divna talks about that. So I went out and called 3 real estate agents, and the third one said yes. I got the deal.
So you picked up this deal here. So tell
Yeah.
us about how you got into it.
So this was a deal where the owner had listed it. It had sat on the market for quite a while, and it had recently just dropped in value. And I actually said to the owner, or to the real estate agent, I should say, said, look, I've got an offer for you, and it's for full asking price. And his eyes lit up. I said, there's a few terms though. So basically what I wanted was, I wanted to pay my $13,000 and use a $7,000 first homeowners grant to make a $20,000 deposit. So I passed that across. Then I knew the real estate agent would be on my side because that's him paid off. That's his fees. Owner's not getting anything yet. Then I went, okay, I'll give you that full asking price. I want to rent it off you. I'll give you slightly more than market rent. So I was paying about $50 to $100 more than market rent for the property for those 2 years for the ability to live in it. I wanted to renovate it. The owner wasn't so sure on that one. So I said, okay, but if we've got no clauses, if I change the door handles, I'm in trouble. I'd seen Dipner talk a little bit like this before. So I said, okay, I want to change the door handles and I want to paint. So we had changing door handles, we had painting put into the contract. Then I said, oh, but if I don't really like that splashback, and I kind of wouldn't mind a new oven. And in the end, I got renovating put into that as well. So I've moved into the property. I had the ability to sublease the rooms out, as that was a bit of forward planning as well. Moved into the property, owner drives by about a week later, and the bathtub's out the front. Wasn't so happy, but we had all the relevant insurances, so he was okay.
So you go in that, and this is 3 years ago now.
Yes. So we renovated. I did plan to subdivide, didn't quite end up pulling that one off. That the yard was a little small, but yeah, time moves by, and it's coming up to getting close to settling, and my broke mindset kicks in. I start thinking of when I couldn't catch the bus. I start thinking about how my family's never had money, how I'm not deserving of this, I'm not meant to have this, and I just had a complete freak out. My job I was in was commission only, and I started not earning money. It was like I forgot how to sell overnight. I went, what am I going to do now? I'm going to lose this house. I've thrown all this work into renovating. All of this has gone on. And okay, I know what I need to do. I need to find a PAYG job. I need the salary. I just need 6 months in a PAYG job and I can settle. So I got on the phone and I just went, okay, I want to be in the building industry or something related to property, and I just made phone call after phone call, everyone saying no, spoke to recruiters. I had a recruiter background prior to where I was then, and recruiters were saying, no, you've gone into a sales, commission only role, that's corporate suicide, you're not worth anything, you've got to look at a 50 to 60 grand base, and I needed 6 figures to settle. So I just kept making phone call after phone call, and eventually one stuck. They said, yeah, we've absolutely got a job we can offer you. Love your ambition, you've called us up. The problem is, it's in Sydney. So now I live in Sydney.
6 figures worth going to. So this one you actually refinanced it at some point once you did get the PAYG job, and then you've recently
subleased it out, room by room.
Moved to Sydney, so it's looking after itself and a little bit positive.
Yeah.
And you only have just sold it this month.
I've put it on the market, and it sold on the 4th of November, so this month, and it sold for almost a $300,000 profit.
We're not looking at each other. So you're now in the game, and you're doing this, and you come up and you start putting people together.
Yeah, look, along the way, I knew a guy that was very good at real estate deals. And he was basically saying, Corina, I'm coming across so much opportunity. People think there's a lack of opportunity out there. There's actually an abundance. The hard bit's actually just finding the cash. And around a similar time, I had a conversation with someone else who said, love how you bought your property. You're always coming up with all these ideas. I've got a chunk of cash and I don't have time to spend it. I'm in business. I'd love to be back in real estate. Let's do a JV. Now, I hadn't sold the house yet. I still had that mindset that was a little bit broken. I didn't have the trust in what I could do. But I saw, well, someone wants property deals. Someone wants money. These two people work. And I ummed and I ahed and I thought, okay, well, what can I do? How can I make this work? In the end, I put the two together and I let us have a discussion around what it would mean. And I was blown away when the end result was that, let's keep you in the picture. Obviously, I wasn't expecting 33% return. I wasn't putting too much in there. I got a 15% share in this deal and we ended up doing the second one as well.
Which is pretty amazing. That's great too. So you join High Res, you go to the weekend, and all of a sudden, wow, what can I do? And this has only been in the last week, really.
Last week. Okay, so I sat High Res. I'd always liked the idea of subleasing. Room by room, I'd done my one. He had kept it neutral, sometimes slightly positive, though we had some issues with tenanting. Sat High Res and saw how you could do it 100% legally with your full insurance in place, how to make it all work. And so I went on a bit of a search for properties. And 2 weeks ago, I saw something that caught my attention. I really liked the look of it and sent an email to the agent. And they said, they didn't reply. I thought I'll give them a buzz on Monday. Now, Monday, I went into that moment where I was busy, perhaps a little bit of self-sabotage. I didn't call the agent on Monday. I called them on Tuesday and it was gone. One thing I have learned is rapport with everyone you meet is important. This deal was gone, so I thought, well, I'll let the agent know what I'm looking for. Maybe she's got something else. So I spoke to her and she said, nah, we're actually not even located there. It's a one-off. So sorry, we can't even help you. There's nothing else. I said, oh, no problem. Tell me a bit more about yourself. She was the principal of the real estate agent. And I said, look, can I put an application in? Is it really gone? They've actually paid their deposit. Okay, such a pity. Got to know her a bit more and just kept talking, left and thought, you never know, something could come out of it. She called me the next day, said, I think today's your lucky day. They've just had something happen overseas and they've had to shoot off. They won't be taking the house. That's my deal.
So you pick it up, head lease, you'll put the fire and safety into it, you're paying $12.50 and you tested the market and you just kept on putting the price up and they kept on responding.
Yeah, blew me away. Ad goes up on Gumtree and I reckon there might have been about 40 applications within the hour. Just kept testing it, raising it. At the time, we'd noticed the one next to it was also on the market. We'd had a bit of a look at it and I said, oh, look, that one doesn't work. I would need it for $900 for it to work. In the end, we took the two of them. We got the second one at a discounted price because we were taking the two and wrapping it up in one go. We now have two houses next to each other, way more applications than we have the ability to fill. We've now got local industry starting to call us up saying, hey, we've heard about you, I understand, I've looked online, you've got all these rooms available, we have all these people that want rooms, and now we're going, what the hell do we do? How do we take this on? So I'd like to also share, I don't even get the keys till Monday. We've got all the furniture lined up to be delivered. It's all literally happened this week.
So that's good, 77,000 passive income out of just those two deals.
Oh, no, go back. Yeah. So 27 on this one and 49 on the first. Yeah, so we're pretty...
77,
that's
yep.
what you said. Okay.
Total, yeah.
But wait, there's more.
And there's more because, like I said, sometimes it takes a long time to get the deals and you have hiccups and you have stop signs put in your way. But the thing with stop signs is it allows you to continue. So tell us about this one.
Well, I've been part of this competition. I've known I've been in the running for the last week, maybe 2 now. And I've been saying to Ian, can I present on Saturday, not Friday? I've got this deal that's really, really close to completing and I'm just trying to get it across the line. Well, 12:02 a.m. this morning, I got 8 units on one title. Regional town, middle of nowhere, $35,000 down. The rest of the money's not due till April 2019.
Okay, so let's because this is a 1-year deal. This wasn't a deal that just happened at 12:02 this morning. 12:02 this morning is when we were both extraordinarily happy. Because it went backwards and forwards, and this couple had cross-securitized something. They were in charge. They'd locked in
9% interest rate for 10 years. They had 18 months, or they had until April 2019 left. They had a $70,000 break fee to leave now. So we were actually able to get it cheaper, $70,000 cheaper by doing a long-term settlement.
Because for them, if they were going to break it today, it was going to cost them 70 grand anyway. So they said, well, we don't want the problem. You're simply paying them as a head lease over this time, and you're going to individually free them, and in the same time you can go through and renovate.
So effectively, it runs like a commercial deal. I pay all their outgoings, I collect all the incomings. It's old, it's run down, 4 of them are full, there's some bad tenants in place. Having researched the marketplace though, 2-bed unit in this particular area should go for about $200,000.
So 200, now there's a few figures here that are very conservative because the estimated make on this deal is over $500,000, right? So that's the starting point. However, the end value is at 1.4 on that figure, so really we're talking about $700,000, and there's an estimate of strata title of, and some extra cost of $200,000, which won't go there. So this is like a $700,000 to $900,000 deal in one deal for $35,000. Now, in that's going to give you so much more opportunity because you've got 35 grand cash flow coming from it. You don't have to sell any of them if you don't want to. You'll be able to do so much more. I just think it's so amazing.
Well, a little bit further, the $35,000 that I'm using for the deposit, I don't have. I'm waiting for my house to settle. So we're able to arrange the dates to all perfectly work 1 week after I get the money from my house. I'm in this deal. Oh man.
What would you like to say to anyone in the crowd?
It's fun to make Ian cry. The big thing that held me back for years was excuses, waiting for something. And look, in all purposes, I thought that money was coming, but it was something external to me that I couldn't control. We all have the ability to move forward. You actually cannot invest yourself into a corner if you're creative. There's nothing that you can't do. So I'd say if money's your excuse, find someone that's got money. Find someone that is open to a no money down deal. If it's time, find someone that has time. There's so many things out there that you can do. There's actually no reason to hold on to those excuses because you'll either have those excuses or you could have results.
So take us through in the time that you've been and the position you're in now.
Okay, so it was 3.5 years ago when I just worked up my $13,000 of savings. So 3.5 years later, look, once these deals are complete, I expect to be on an income of $120,000 and have just over $900,000 in equity.
Please thank Corina.
Thank you.
Thanks. So from a low starting base of $13,000, you know, you've seen Cara from a negative equity base take off and do amazing things. And that's the beauty of what this program and the I Love Real Estate community does to support each other.